Hello, Cassie. I'm getting you on tape, okay? Say hi, please. Okay, see ya. September 26th to 26th. We're skipping our 4th hour. We're running our plan right now. I'm telling Cassie's family, but...
Cassie Jo Stoddart was a bright, kind 16-year-old high school student in Pocatello, Idaho. She loved art, school, and had a promising future ahead. But on September 22nd, 2006, her life was brutally cut short in a way that horrified not only her community, but the entire country. This wasn't just a senseless teenage crime. This was premeditated, calculated, inspired by horror fiction, turned into chilling reality. Cassie was house-sitting for her aunt and uncle that weekend. She invited her boyfriend, Matt Beckham, over to keep her company. It was supposed to be a quiet evening. TV, snacks, and typical teenage bonding. Later that night, two of Matt and Cassie's classmates, Brian Draper and Torey Adamcik, dropped by briefly. They said they were just stopping in to say hi. Cassie and Matt didn't suspect anything strange. After hanging out for a bit, the two left. What no one knew at that moment was that Brian and Torey had hidden away in the basement. They had unlocked a downstairs door earlier that day while pretending to use the bathroom. Brian and Torey weren't just classmates. They were obsessed with horror films, especially the Scream franchise. But unlike most fans, they took their obsession to a disturbing level. They recorded themselves talking about killing Cassie in cold blood, citing their desire to make their own real-life horror movie. They had been planning it for weeks. They wrote notes, mapped the house layout, and even documented their twisted excitement leading up to the crime. The tapes they made, later recovered by police, are bone-chilling. In one, Brian says, "We found our victim, and sad as it may be, she's our friend. But you gotta kill her."
Wrong thing, but
hell,
you restrict somebody from it, they're gonna want it more.
we found our victim, and sad as it may be, she's our friend. But you know what? We all have to make sacrifices. Our first victim is going to be Cassie Stoddart. She's going to be alone in a big, dark house out in the middle of nowhere. How perfect can you get? I mean, like, holy shit, dude.
I'm horny just thinking about it.
Hell yeah.
Later that night, after the house went dark and Matt left, Brian and Torey emerged from the basement. They had cut the power earlier, hoping to scare Cassie. When she didn't come downstairs, they crept up. Cassie was brutally stabbed over 30 times, alone, terrified, and with no idea why her friends would do something so monstrous. There were signs of a struggle, defensive wounds on her arms and hands. When Cassie's relatives returned home 2 days later, they found her lifeless body. Panic and grief consumed the community. No one could believe that two local teenagers, polite, seemingly normal kids, could commit such a horrific act. Police interrogated Matt Beckham, who told them about Brian and Torey visiting that night. Soon after, the chilling truth unraveled. Brian confessed first, then led officers to the tapes. They didn't just talk about the murder. They detailed their plan step by step, even discussing alibis and how they would get away with it. In 2007, both teenagers were tried as adults. Brian Draper tried to claim Torey did all the stabbing. Torey claimed the opposite. But the evidence, including their own videotaped words, was undeniable. Their notebooks included disturbing drawings, a list of potential future victims, and references to serial killers they idolized. Both were convicted of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. They were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Appeals have been made over the years, but all were denied. Cassie's story remains one of the most disturbing modern crimes committed by teenagers. It raises haunting questions. How can fiction blur into real life? What leads seemingly normal teens to commit such horrors? Experts point to a mix of adolescent psychopathy, obsession with violence, and a lack of empathy. Torey and Brian showed no remorse. Instead, they seemed fascinated by their own crime, speaking of it like a scene from a film.
Killed Cassie. We just left her house. This is not a fucking joke.
I'm shaking.
I stabbed her in the throat and I saw her lifeless body just disappear. Dude, I just killed Cassie. Oh, fuck. That felt like fucking real. I mean, it went by so fast.
Shut the fuck up, we gotta get our act straight.
The murder of Cassie Jo Stoddart is not just about violence. It's about the dangers of obsession, the fragility of life, and the evil that can hide behind the faces we think we know. Cassie was more than a victim. She was a daughter, a sister, a friend. And her memory lives on as a reminder to stay vigilant, to question warning signs, and to never underestimate the darkness that sometimes lurks in plain sight. Remember to subscribe to our True Crime channel, like, and comment below with your thoughts on this case. Share this story so Cassie's voice is never forgotten.